Love a good butter cake? Me too! In this video, I talk about the best Keto Books 2019, starting with Keto Baked by Keto Kelly. In fact, I'm going to have a live chat with the author herself, Kelly Peterson. So stay with me. Okay. Alright, hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Lynette and I help people be beautiful and healthy naturally. And if you're new here, definitely consider subscribing. But hey, in this video, I'm talking about the best Keto Books 2019. And I'm starting with Keto Baked by Keto Kelly. And in fact, I'm going to have a chat with Keto Kelly or Kelly Peterson, the author of Keto East. And we'll be talking with her about her latest book called Keto Baked. Hey Kelly, how are you?
Hi Lynette, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. You look amazing.
Thank you, thank you.
Which part of the world are you at now?
Right now, I'm overlooking a beautiful ocean in front of my window in the island called Phuoc in Vietnam.
You're on a holiday again. Oh my gosh, I'm so envious. Lucky you.
Thank you. Yeah, I've been working so hard with my Asia book tour the last 4 to 5 weeks, and we just need to have a break before we head home to the USA.
I know. And despite your really busy schedule, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you taking the time to spend with us. And I really enjoyed your latest book, by the way, Keto Baked. And if you're watching this on the replay, I'll put a link up there to the Keto Baked Keto Diet Cookbook review I just did. And you can check that out at any time. And so Kelly, can you tell us who or what inspired this second book?
And the second book, Keto Baked, was inspired by my mother, of everybody that never thought about, because I'm not a baker. I never baked in my life, and my mom obviously was a high carb eater, and somehow when she visited me in US a few years ago, she was inspired to eat low carb keto with me, and she experienced good benefit. But after returning to Singapore, she was back to eating high carb with her friends, you know, the usual challenge. And a few years later, she was diagnosed with chronic stage 4 colon cancer. That was the time I visited her back in Singapore and realized that, oh my gosh, so many people in Singapore are eating such high sugar, high starch, sweet dessert, bread every day, almost like everywhere I've been, and I see it, and it breaks my heart, because knowing that they're eating actually all the sugar and starch, and not knowingly that this is the cause of most diseases, especially high blood glucose and insulin resistant diabetes and all that. And it was a wake-up call for me that there is a reason why all these health issues is happening, especially in the country that I grew up with, and it really breaks my heart. If I can actually help my friends or family or my Singaporeans mate to cut off the amount of sugar and starch they eat every day, by introducing a keto dessert Keto Baked book, which I already have all the recipes, and I've been using it all these years for my family and friends in the US, and everybody loves it. Mm-hmm. So if I can put it in a book, maybe I can inspire people to find out that, you know, actually I can eat bread and dessert in a less harmful way, I would say, or a little more healthier way for their blood glucose. And that's how the book was created.
Wow. And I was just wondering, with that as a starting point, how was the whole process like, you know, from conception to completion? It must have been painful for you?
It is. Well, seriously painful. My husband Dan was saying like, when I was writing the book, I was like, just tears over my face, and each time I read the book, or each time I edit the book, I'm like filled with tears, just because I believe in sharing my stories, and because Asian friends and family would relate to me, and I want to send a message out that I'm just like one of you. I grew up in the same background, so I decided finally that I would share my story in a deeper level. So in order to do that, I have to actually dig up all my past emotions and experience, and it's a painful journey because it's just so many stories that I want to tell. But if I don't tell the story, it is I feel like I'm not sharing fully of myself and my experience. It was a painful journey, but I think it is worth it in a sense right now, because I do receive a lot of emails and private message telling me that how appreciative they are when they read the book, and it still makes me tears.
Oh my gosh, yes, and I'm one of those. I'm at the receiving end. When I read your book, I just wanted to look at all the pretty pictures, and I just wanted to, just look at it and just enjoy myself. But then, I started reading and I couldn't put it down. And by the time I was done, I was crying like crazy. My book is ruined, by the way.
I'm sorry, but thank you.
And I really enjoyed your stories. And I could relate on so many counts, because my grandmother also died of colon cancer. And and my family also, they have got high carb sweet treats, desire for such foods. And it's hard to cut it down, hard to explain to them also. So I think this book is really good. It's done a really good job in explaining these difficult things to them in a story form. So I think it's really successful in that sense.
Thank you so much for your review. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. And moving on to something a little more happy now, maybe you can share with us which was your favorite dessert, or maybe before you even embarked on this keto journey, which was your most favorite dessert, and you found it really difficult giving it up, but somehow you found a way to tweak the recipe so that even people on a keto diet can also enjoy now.
Yes, my favorite dessert when I was growing up is the butter cake and almond cake that I have in Singapore. You understand that we eat that morning for breakfast, and then we have it snack for tea, and maybe anytime we want. And I did that for so many years. And of course, when I embarked on the keto lifestyle, in the beginning it's a mental challenge to try to understand that you mean all this are bad for me, and then disconnect it with the sugar and flour. And I managed to do that personally, because by learning so much knowledge, I finally accepted that yes, this is how it works in our body, and I managed to disconnect with my favorite so-called dessert, butter cake, successfully, for a number of years, until when my mom came to visit me, and she asked me, "Can you make a keto healthy butter cake?" I was like, "What? No, Mom. I don't want to eat cake. Don't ask me to bake cake. I've never baked cake in my whole life." And she said, "Can you try?" Oh my gosh. I can't say no to my mom, but I never baked in my life. So that was my first time I tried. So I tried to replace part of the ingredient and all of the ingredient to, instead of the common flour, I replaced it with coconut flour and almond flour, and I tested it out. I'm like, wow. In less than 30 minutes, my house was filled with butter cake aroma. And that was 3 to 4 years after I disconnected totally with this dessert that I love. Then I realized that, it brought me back to my childhood. I can eat butter cake again in a healthier way. So that was my favorite dessert. And finally, over the years, I managed to tweak it and improve it to a consistency right now that I really love, and my family really enjoyed it. And most of my friends who are high carb friends, they tried it and they couldn't tell really that this is a low carb or a keto butter cake by itself. So I'm pretty pleased with those recipes that I have it in the book in Keto Baked, that all of them, I would say, is just my recipe from home, from my kitchen, that I have been using it for a number of years and continuously tweaking to make it perfect.
Perfect. Yeah. And you know, that is a signal to me to try the butter cake recipe, and I am all fired up to want to try. So keep watching my channel and I will definitely try that out and will let you know how it goes, okay? I'm not a baker either. Okay, and tell us a bit more about, you know, if you're working on a next book or what's your next big project?
Next book is coming, which is called Keto West. Again,
wow.
The first book was Keto East, is all the Asian recipes, and then this big book, and the next one is Keto West, is again all the recipes that I've been cooking in my American kitchen, the Western European French style of cuisine. I have American family, so I usually explore, you know, cooking different kind of cuisine. So we are not tired about all Asian or all American. So, and again, even in the American Western way of cooking at home, there is some sense and tweak about the Asian fusion style in me. So this is the next book that I'm working on. Maybe I'll start working on it next month. I'm having my holiday now.
And I look forward to your new book, okay? And just before we go, can you record a special message for our friends who are thinking of switching to keto but still need some encouragement, or those of our friends who have been on it for some time now but are not seeing visible results? Maybe you can say something to encourage them.
Yeah, certainly. Well, personally, I have been on keto, low carb, high fat keto lifestyle for 9.5 years, coming to 10 years in next April. So, you know, a keto lifestyle is a lifestyle. Think of it as changing your lifestyle to eating more better quality food, real food, instead of any food that you just put in your mouth. Think about the food that you eat is to support and nourish your body. And it is not a short-term diet thing. It's a lifestyle. If you think it's a lifestyle, it's actually very, very sustainable because we eat so well, and having the real ingredient that you prepare the food yourself. I feel like I'm reconnecting with the food again. So every mouthful of food that I put in my mouth is actually being really aware where the food source come in and how nutritious this food is into my body. So I would encourage that if you are thinking and attempting and trying to think about what's keto, think simple. It's just about eating real food. It's not that complicated. And it is sustainable. It's no deprivation, especially with an ease of West cuisine and dessert all together.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that lovely encouragement, and thank you so much for spending time with us as well. And I wish you every success with your new book, Keto West. I look forward to reading it. And in the meantime, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Lynette. Thank you. It's my pleasure.